And anyone that had been following his career understand what the Washington Post said when this was a plus for the person that beat him, John Benson, I think, as the new senator in his place in Prince George. But Richern seems to have some business experience, and we're looking forward to having him on the program again, and you'll be interviewing him often, I'm sure.
Well, there will be a guest story on the election appearing in the inaugural edition.
That's good.
On what longtime observers, people are very, very positive about the results of the election.
Very much so. I'd like to ask you this, Josh. How did you get interested in this business you're in?
Right. Okay, so I actually grew up in Colorado, and I moved to Maryland in 2004, and I lived in Bowie for a little over a year, take some time working so that I could get in-state residency, because I actually put myself through college. So I started at Frostburg State University. I went there for a little over a year, and I was in their chemistry program. And when I decided to change majors, I also decided that I needed to change universities. So I transferred to Towson University, which is where I finished up my degrees. I actually got a dual degree in journalism and new media, as well as a degree in audio and radio production.
He also does a stint on WBAL in Baltimore.
No.
Yeah, for a while, kind of in the midst of my finals senior year, which was really hard to do, I got hired at WBAL as a producer, so I was producing a talk show for a few hours a day. So yeah, that was a really good experience. I definitely have done a lot more broadcast stuff than print stuff. I interned at a lot of radio stations in the Baltimore area throughout college, and you know, firstly, my passion was kind of audio and radio stuff. I really like the science of sound and just the way that you can manipulate it to you know, give people certain feelings through either stories or music. They're both very powerful, I think, in audio.
Well, my son would agree with you totally.
Yeah, there's something about having to visualize it yourself rather than having it given to you on something like a TV screen,
right,
or in like a movie. But yeah, so I've always liked writing. I think that you know, I have some pretty strong writing skills, and so I chose my journalism degree just so that I could kind of see where that went. And how I got involved with Patch is actually kind of interesting as well. I took a class in college called Writing for New Media, where it was very open-ended as far as the topic. It was just cover what you want to, and you know, you'll design a website. It was primarily a writing class. The web design aspect of it was kind of minimal, but I decided to do the neighborhood that I lived in Baltimore, which is called Lauraville. At the time, it was going through a period of like a lot of growth economically, and just there was a lot of people in the community getting involved to try to improve the image, because it was on the Hartford Road corridor in Baltimore, and you know, historically that's been kind of a rough area.
Yeah.
And you know, so when I was talking to local business owners, they'd say things like, you know, when I first moved here, I had to literally like chase people off my property, and people would break in all the time, and so yeah, I kind of recognized that and saw that there was a lot of really great local businesses and stuff, and you know, they had a gas station that they had converted into a site for a weekly like farmers market, where they had you know, local restaurants come and cook food. They had performances, stuff for the kids, and it was just really great. And so the website that I created is actually very similar to what a patch looks like on a very small scale.
Yeah.
I had a kind of a directory of the places in Lauraville that, you know, the residents kind of frequent, and the places that are good to visit. I featured several local business owners, and and more focused on the people rather than the business.
Yeah.
Kind of their story, how they got started, things like that. And then, you know, kind of somebody noticed it, and my professor recommended me for the position with Patch, and then I decided to move back. I live with my parents in Bowie now. We live in Old Bowie, and so trying to pay off some of those student loans for a little while.
Oh yes.
And
That's great background.
I rubbed it into him, telling them that when I went to university, there was no tuition.
Yeah, that's the European school systems. So.
You know, Josh, that's good experience. To me, what sounds so great is your community recognition there
Yeah.
of what can be done.
That
and
is so
you-
important to live in the community. It really is.
Yeah, well, that's one
Involved
thing
in
that's really kind of pivotal in Patch's idea is
Yeah.
that in every patch, the local editor is either living in the community or extremely close, like one town over. I mean, sometimes there's various reasons that an editor can't live in the community, or they've already like been established in the right.
Well, when
right
I came
next
down
door.
here, I had to live in the community. That
Right.
was a requirement
Yeah.
of the job.
I mean, it's almost every local editor actually lives in the area that they're covering.
Yeah.
That's preferred, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
What does PATCH stand for? Any particular?
It's not an acronym,
not?
but Patch, you know, they definitely went through a lot of different names before they came to Patch as the name for the site. You know, I guess the idea behind it is kind of like patches is something that can grow very rapidly. You know, it can grow, and it's and communities are kind of like I guess a patchwork. You could think about it like that.
Right.
I think it's kind of open to interpretation.
It is open to interpretation.
Unless you're a quilt
yeah.
maker.
Very true.
Then it could be a United States quilt, the patch here and patch there.
Yeah.
The graphics on, you know, it blew my mind when I saw the green. I looked at the green belt one,
Right.
and the graphics, the layout, the everything on it looks better than our local newspapers. That's been developed by some expert in the field, obviously.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a full-fledged team of dedicated people to design every part of the website, from
Yeah.
the back end all the way to the front end of the web design. And yeah, like I said, they're definitely always looking for ways that we can improve the user experience. So it's a good team, and they really do take into account suggestions from people, both users, editors, and anybody that has a suggestion as to how we can make the site work better for them.
And next is audio.
Next is audio. We're working on that right now. So
That's super. That's
Absolutely, and your background is tremendous, Josh, to hear, because we see a lot of young people in the course of this work here, interns coming in and all.
yeah.
And we had a recent intern here that lived in Canada and was visiting here, I think her grandmother, during the summer, and she volunteered to come in the studio. And she was following similar experiences that you have been. I think the difference that with so many we've met over the years, intern, a lot of people really don't get that practical experience as often as they should. And it sounded like you did, and you took your own destiny on your own
Well,
hand.
we'll know next Thursday.
well, yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that just in general should be stressed in the education system, especially higher education, is that internships and real world experience.
Great.
It's just, the classroom is important as well, and
Sure.
the academic side of things is necessary, but if you don't couple it with some real world experience,
We had discussed this, the infamous journalism professors who have never worked in the newspaper field. I never quite fathomed that, but
yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, you know, from both a learning side, when you're working with the professionals that are actually doing this on a daily basis, it's invaluable.
oh, absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
yeah, and I think also from a perspective of teaching, especially in something like that in journalism, professors who have had experience in the field and, you know,
All right,
veterans.
let me ask you this question.
Okay.
This is the zinger.
All right.
Do you think what you're doing is going to replace newspapers eventually? I mean, they're very weak as they are right now, especially community newspapers.
Right. I don't think that we would necessarily replace newspapers.
We're not going to replace the New York Times or the Washington Post.
Right, right.
But there's an awful lot of these small-town dailies, small-town weeklies that are on death's door.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the bigger papers in major metropolitan areas are going under because they just can't sustain that business model anymore. And yeah, I mean, I think the way that things are moving with technology, it's much easier and immediate to get things on, you know, the variety of devices that are out there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Now with all these, you know, like the iPad and the Kindle, things like that.
I talked to grandmothers who on the computer who I never in a million years thought would, and they're better at it than I am.
I mean, I think that there will always be the people that just really like the tangible feeling of holding a newspaper.
There is that.
And that's
Yeah.
that's something that you can never replicate with an online organization.
No, you're absolutely
But,
right. I want the New York Times in my hand.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as replacing them, I don't. Maybe way down the road.
But a very viable alternative.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the immediacy thing is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, having a paper come out once a week is great, but then if something happens the day after you publish, then
And that happens all the time.
right. I mean, it really is a 24-hour news cycle. I mean, things are happening every minute of every day, and just the capabilities of being able to immediately get the news out there. I mean, that's another thing. We'll have a very active Facebook fan page and Twitter page.
Yeah.
If you just search for Bowie Patch on either of those sites, you should be able to find me. And so that's one way that you can get up to the minute kind of.
Your patch, your Facebook patch has been getting quite a bit of.
Yeah, people are definitely starting to take notice of Bowie Patch, which is great, and I've been getting a lot of good feedback from the community. I think people are really excited about it, as they should be. And
Oh, I could tell you they are.
yeah, and yeah, like I'm
Even
just,
Bert.
How about advertisements, Josh?
advertisements will be handled by a sales representative. Obviously, since I'm the editor, I will have no part in the sales and advertising.
I never did.
So the site will be supported by ads, mostly local ads. So we have a great package of different advertising opportunities for local businesses if they want to take advantage of that. And when we have a sales representative in the area, he or she will be taking care of that side of things.
Alrighty, and there is a subscription possibility.
Yeah,
But it's optional.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's not
No.
paid.
No,
It's free.
I mean,
Everything on the site you can do
Yeah.
for free, aside from if you want to post some of the classifieds.
Classified ads, sure.
But I mean, aside from that, everything is free. It's, like I said, very open, and
that's good.
yeah.
I
well, we
appreciate
have arrived at the wrap.
that.
Can you believe that? It goes by so fast.
It did. It flew by.
But I think we've
Yeah.
given a pretty good introduction to the community
Absolutely, John.
of what I think is going to be a very successful operation. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
I really am.
And of
really,
course,
really am.
I'm
And
glad John will be involved as well.
I wish you all the best, of course, with a vested interest. Now, you're not going to be a burnout and leave in a year, right?
No. Well, I'll be around for a while.
Well, thanks for coming in,
Thanks for being here, Josh.
and it was
Sean.
great to chat.
Yeah. I had a great time coming on.
You
Thank
did
you
well.
for having me.
Oh, my
Thank you.
pleasure, our
You
pleasure.
did very well, and I think it was great news.